Hello everyone, welcome to Math for Today. So we are learning about fractions, and in the other day's video I showed you about how fractions fits into baking when using measuring cups. We're going to look at fractions a different way today using circles. So I have made some circles here, which are very easy to make, by the way, if you trace something round. So that's why it looks so round and nice. So if you want to try this at home, I recommend tracing something circular like a bowl or something. So this is the circle that I've made here, and I've written the number 1 because I want you to think of this circle as one whole object, okay? So this is a whole circle. Now, fractions is all about dividing something that is whole into equal pieces. Now, the equal part is very important, and I think you probably can understand that pretty easily. Let's say that this was actually a cookie, and you were going to share it with a friend. Well, if you divided the cookie this way, and this was your piece, and this was your friend's piece, I'm thinking your friend would not be very excited about you because that would not be equal. That would not be giving them half of your cookie at all. It would have to go straight down the middle. Now, we understand that because that's something we do. But let's look at that mathematically now. So I've made another circle here, and I've put a line straight down the middle. Now, if you fold this in half, you can see that it is equal on both sides. Each piece is the same. So that is what we're looking for when we're doing fractions, is equal size pieces. And you can see that the circle is divided in half, and this is how you write 1/2. It's a 1 sitting on top of a line and a 2 underneath. Now the number on top tells you how many pieces, and the number on the bottom tells you how many pieces it takes to make a whole. Now this top one is called a numerator, and the bottom is called a denominator. And that's something we'll practice in another video. That's just for future information. So each side is one piece of the circle, and the bottom number shows that each piece, you would need 2 of them to make a whole circle. So that's 1/2. Now let's say you're dividing this cookie between you and 2 friends. Well, then we are starting to look at thirds. Now this is a little bit harder to draw and to fold because circles don't do that just by folding. It took a little bit of work, to be honest. But here I managed to get reasonably perfect thirds on this circle. And what you're seeing again is that the top number shows how many pieces you have. Each of these is one piece. And the bottom number shows how many pieces you'd need to make a whole circle. Now, just to show you that a little bit more, I made another circle with thirds, and I cut it into the 3 pieces like this. Now, you can double check that the pieces are equal if you put them on top of each other and you can't really see underneath them. So as you can see, these 3 pieces are basically equal. They're not perfect, but they're pretty close. So 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 makes one whole circle. So remember, with a half, 2 pieces makes a whole circle. With thirds, we need 3 pieces to make a whole circle. Now, let's say then that you had this half and you folded it once and then another time. And now what you've got is you've got 4 pieces instead of just 2. You've divided the 2 halves into half. We talked about that in measuring cups, about half cups and quarter cups, and how 2 quarter cups made a half cup, right? Same idea here, it's just we're showing it in circles. So here now, this circle is divided into quarters, okay? So again, the top number shows how many pieces each one is. So this is 1/4, each of them is 1/4. The bottom number shows how many pieces you need to make a whole circle. All right. Now, of course, looking at this, I know a lot of you are automatically thinking, that really reminds me of a medicine wheel. And you're absolutely right. That is exactly what I thought too. Now, you know that I've brought this from school and I put it up on the wall just so that this would seem a bit more like our classroom, even though it's really my kitchen. And you can see that this was decorated by our friend at school, and she did a lovely job painting the 4 animals that fit with the 4 parts of the medicine wheel. Now, I have to be honest, there's a lot I don't know about this. I am not very knowledgeable. And so, of course, I didn't want to just tell you things I didn't know very much about. So I reached out to Mrs. O because she's been teaching you about this in culture class, and I thought it may be a good review for you anyways. So if you'll recall, 4 is a sacred number because there are many parts of our world and our life that fit into 4s. For example, there's 4 directions: north, south, east, west. There's 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. We have our 4 animals for our school medicine wheel. We've got the beaver, the eagle, the buffalo, and the wolf. There are the 4 sacred medicines, which are sage, sweetgrass, tobacco, and cedar. And the part that you would have spent, I believe, the most on is the 4 parts of people, how we have an emotional part, physical, mental, and spiritual. And Mrs. O said that when you studied this, you actually made your own medicine wheel and you drew a picture in each section showing that how you use each part for your own life. So she said for the emotional, you drew something to do with your family. For the physical, you might have drawn something about you playing. For the mental, of course, learning. And spiritual, you might have done something about praying or smudging. And so I just wanted to remind you about all those things because that information and that knowledge is something that you don't want to forget, especially right now when we have to take care of ourselves in a different way. It's important to remember all 4 parts of who we are and make sure that we take care of each part because each part has value for us. So I don't know very much about it, but you'll remember that Mrs. O has been making videos with her son, and those are on Google Classroom and also on YouTube. So that's something that you can look at if you would like to learn more about that. I know I do. So that is our lesson about fractions for the day. Tune in on Monday and we will learn more about it. Have a good day.